Hey guys, it is the 1st of December 2018, a week after our last podcast, but we are right back on schedule here, and we are wrapping up the remains of the fall 2018 season. Obviously, next show is going to be our preview, and then we'll try to find a pretty good time to do our infamous awards show, as per usual. Oh, okay.
I forgot what this year was.
Yeah, it's all of it. You just had a huge amnesia for the entire year. But yeah, so that's sort of going to be our schedule. But anyways, we're heading straight into the winter 2018 season pretty soon. So watch out for that. And it is episode 107 of 4PlayerAnimecast. I am your host Spire, and with me are the usual compatriots. Dark.
Hi.
He's here. He is our token white person, as usual.
Wow.
As usual. Just to fill our diversity quotas. And then Nier.
I'm here.
Yes, Nier is also here. He is our also token low energy person. Here to fill our diversity quota.
Wow.
And Toast.
What's up?
Yeah. So everybody's here and present pretty good. Nobody's dying or dead or on fire. So I guess we'll just start off.
Speaking of fire, did you hear what happened to Alaska a couple days ago?
Well, you mean the earthquake?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7.0 earthquake.
That's not a fire.
Yeah, it's not a fire, but I guess it's. Natural disaster.
You see that?
It is, I guess, an element of destruction.
Yeah, but, like Captain Planet, you have all the elements.
The scariest part about that was like the earthquake was there and it was a 7.0, but then afterwards they were like, yeah, they also issued a tsunami warning just in case, and I was like, oh yeah, that's
Wasn't it 2 earthquakes back to back? There was like a 5.2 later on.
Yeah, there might have been. I forget.
Pretty common.
Yeah.
It's the after.
But yeah, it's very unfortunate. So please pray for the people there that have taken damage. Any casualties, stuff like that. Were there casualties? I think there were. But yeah, so very unfortunate. But anyways, we should probably move right on, finishing up our series. So Dark, do you want to start us off?
Okay. Yeah. So I watched Beelzebub Joe no Okinimesu.
Yes.
What's the English
There you
name?
go. As Miss Beelzebub likes it. Yeah.
It's Beelzebub Joe no Okinimesu Mama or whatever. Yeah, again, as Beelzebub likes it, it is a what is Leiden Studios? No. Who's doing the anime?
Yeah, Leiden Films.
Leiden Films, yeah.
Yeah. So, known for great series such as
Rokudadashi.
Berserk.
Did you just say Rakudai Kishi?
No. I said Rokudadashi.
What the heck is that?
The Akashic Records.
Yeah, dude. You don't remember Akashic Records?
Oh, they also do
the Akashic Records?
Was it Akashic Records? Was it Akashic Records of Bastard Magic Instructor?
Yeah.
Yes, it absolutely was.
And Koito Uso and Yamada. They're probably best known. Other than helping out with Berserk, but they're also the most famous that they main backed was Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches, right? I think that was probably their most.
I'm pretty sure you mean Seko Boys.
Sekoi? I'm pretty sure you mean Haremada.
Yeah.
Killing Bites. Hello.
Killing Bites. Hello. Oh my
what
God.
the fuck, dude?
Oh,
timeless classics like Terraformars Revenge.
Terraformers. Oh my God.
Dude. I can't believe you'd say such.
Oh my God. But anyways, yeah, so done by Leiden Films. They're a pretty standard studio, not like tier 1 or anything, but they've done quite a number of pretty.
Do some pretty good jobs.
Yeah,
for the show. Deserve it.
Yeah, deserved.
Well, actually, no, not deserve it, because Berserk deserves a lot more what it gets, but I guess that's not really their fault, is it?
Yeah.
As far as I understand.
But anyways, keep going with I believe the.
So who is this
Beelzebub.
Miss Beelzebub?
Wow. Funny you should ask. It's in fact Beelzebub. I know, this might come as a surprise.
What? She wasn't just
Who could have possibly known? So it takes place in hell, as you can see clearly from the poster, with hellish creatures, such as who the hell is the other one, Toast? Belphegor?
the toilet demon?
Yeah, and Azazel.
You mean the 7 princes of hell? Lucifer, Mammon, Asmodeus, Leviathan, Satan, Belphegor?
How do you?
Yeah, dude.
How do
Listen,
you
I
remember
haven't
this?
played
Can I ask
Dynasty
something?
Inferno in a long time. Okay.
Have you not read the what is it? The demonic biblioteca or whatever? What's it called?
Demonica Biblioteca.
Can I
I
ask
don't think
something?
it's called that, dude.
Can I ask something? How do you remember this, but not what our schedule is for the podcast every other week? Can I just ask?
Because he's too busy reading the fucking demonic biblioteca all the time, dude.
Oh my god!
Do you not know about Solomon's Book of Demons?
I do, but
Can you not
I
name them all?
Yeah, what the
I
heck?
don't memorize those. I apologize.
Have none of you read the Ars Goetia, whatever it's called?
Have none of you played Shin Megami Tensei?
Oh my god! Or
None of you
Yeah, I mean,
people
you can just play it. You can just
converse
play
with
SMT,
the
man.
demons of hell? Come on. What the fuck?
None of you read the Bartimaeus
Why
trilogy
else-
here?
So what's the show about?
Keep going, keep going.
I already said what it was about, man. It's about demons in hell. Look, they're all demons. Don't you see? Plain as day.
Who's your favorite demon? Mine's
My
Dante.
favorite demon is Doom.
Damn.
But yeah, so
No. Anyway.
Yeah.
So no more fucking memeing. But yeah, so it's about Beelzebub. She's the ruler of hell.
Mhm.
And hell in this rendition seems for some reason to only be full of like fucking cutesy-ish type things slash what do you want to call it?
Moe.
I mean, not even only that, like anything pastel colored.
yeah,
And I
it's-
think the reason why they do that too is because the rendition of hell is supposed to be more worldly desires based
Mhm.
rather than like punishment, and then heaven is like because they've shown heaven a few times and it's just like almost blank, like nothingness but clouds and whatnot.
Mhm.
So that's more of like a lack of total of desires at all.
right.
So that's kind of how they justify it in a way, but they don't really go too far with that.
Is this like Gabriel Dropout, except instead of the dropout angels, it has to deal with the demons?
Yeah, more or less
Nice.
in a sense. Well, because Beelzebub and well, pretty much like all of them, obviously, were angels at one point. Until they lost God's favor. Not really, and none of them really know exactly why. It seems.
I mean, which
Um,
Lucifer betrayed God himself, so
Well, but anywho, they don't really go into too many details as to why, what really it stemmed from. But what they do with that, which is pretty nice, is there is a lot of trivia and stuff. Like there's an episode
mean?
based around the fact that Beelzebub is afraid of lightning and she doesn't want anyone to know
Oh,
because of how she fell from heaven when God smited her.
she's
Um,
not made of bees and flies.
No,
Oh.
she seems to be made of like cotton balls, more or less. You know, they take some artistic liberties. So basically, the sort of, I want to say, route that the show goes because I've watched I think 7 or 8 episodes by now. I'm not fully caught up, but I'm only like an episode or two behind. But the first few episodes were kind of like a setup for like the romance between her and her new assistant, Murin.
Murin? Yeah,
I don't
I think it's
remember.
Murin.
supposed
I
to,
don't
is
remember
it supposed
that
to be
demon.
Murin or Mulin? I think it's
Mu-
Mulin.
Mullen.
It's probably
It
Mulin.
says Mullen.
Did you
Oh, there
hear
you go.
how they pronounce it?
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to do L more than, because if it was R, then it would be very clear,
Yeah, then you should probably
but
just
it's not.
But it's
Mulin.
pronounced Mullen.
Well,
It's not a mullet. Like,
now it's Mulin.
yeah, just-
Well, wait, no, are you sure it's Mullen or is it pronounced or is it Mullin?
It's, I see Mullin, but it's pronounced
Yeah, so it's
Murin.
probably a hard U then.
I don't know.
yeah. Anyways, keep going. Just
Anyway, so the first few episodes are kind of like a setup to like their romance that they have going on while introducing like some of the side characters and demon princes and their assistants.
Mhm.
So you have, what is it? You have Belphegor, who they do trivia with, where that she always has to go to the bathroom when she gets nervous because Belphegor is the toilet demon or whatever the fuck.
Belphegor is
that's
also the toilet demon of technology. So does she have like a rocket toilet?
No, I can't say that.
wait, what?
Yeah, Toast, can you explain what the fuck Belphegor is really quick? Because that was something you can't really just drop.
Belphegor is the dude on the toilet, and he helps humanity make technological advancements or something. I don't know why he's on the toilet though.
So that's when you get your best ideas.
Like I don't know
Just
why. I don't know why
ask Elon
Belphegor.
Musk.
I don't know
Tweet
why.
Elon Musk, ask him about Belphegor.
Can you make a robot Belphegor, please, Elon Musk? Thanks.
Please.
Belphegor.
Elon, can you share us your secrets and how you communicate with Belphegor?
Like I don't know why Belphegor's laziness when he's got like a toilet with wheels on it. He gets where he needs to go.
Yeah, but that's pretty
Wheels on
lazy,
it?
dude.
What are you talking about?
If you're just
Yeah.
not gonna have to move. Anyway, so that's like the sort of trivia that they do after they sort of build up the two characters' romance
Mhm.
into just being able to converse with each other.
Right,
The
right.
first 2 or 3 episodes kind of have Mulin playing like a complete beta like role, where he doesn't think that Beelzebub has any interest in him.
Mhm.
And he sort of blows her off, or not blows her off, but he like essentially sets her up with other people to do other things because he doesn't think that she would want to go with him because he's just her assistant.
Okay, so it's like, will they, won't they tension kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's more of like not even because like it's clear that she is interested in him to the viewer, but it's not, I guess, to him.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that. But then there's a pretty decent, like, more, I don't want to say breakthrough episode, but where they break out of that by, like, having her more directly reject that notion and blowing off the plans that he set up her with someone else to spend time with him.
Right.
So not to get too much into spoiler plot summary, but that's kind of like where it really picks up. And then the episodes from there are kind of more episodic. The daily happenings of her trying to manage hell.
So the daily habits, and then a majority of that, I'm guessing, is comedy with the backbone of comedy that uses the trivia of, like, the demons and the deadly sins as sort of
Do they even
base,
have
right?
deadly sins though? Like
Kind of.
Beelzebub's supposed to be gluttony. Does she do anything gluttonous?
I mean, she wants to be surrounded by fluffy things at all times. That's kind of gluttony, right?
Wouldn't that be more
mean-
envy though? Or
No,
Oh,
because
what?
she's not envious of it. She just wants to have, like, fluffy things at all times.
Yeah.
That is kind of gluttony. I mean, another thing too is that
greed, kind of, essentially.
yeah, and another thing they do too is like there's an episode where she's trying to manage hell, and she's like, all right, we need to open up a gym because everyone's getting way too lazy.
Mhm.
But then instead of that, the secretary, or not the secretary, the what's it called? The person who manages money.
Accountant?
Treasurer?
Yeah, pretty much
Treasurer.
the treasurer Astaroth is like, man, I can't believe
That's
someone would open up an onsen instead of a gym. That's crazy, right? And then they're like, wait, but you're the treasurer. He's like, yeah, I can't believe I did this.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's something. And then they build the gym later.
Yeah.
But so there's stuff like that where they try and like do comedy and slice of life, but
But
balance with hell
okay.
trivia.
Yeah, okay. So there is trivia, but it's a little bit of that, and then a bit more of just set up the initial characters and then have them kind of bounce off the comedy. Is that sort of how it works?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I think more so than the daily hat than like the management trivia.
Mhm.
I think the character trivia has been a little bit more strong.
Right,
Like
right,
I
right.
mentioned with Beelzebub being afraid of lightning. Like I think those moments have definitely a lot stronger and prevalent.
Right, 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 right. Okay, okay.
Yeah, as far as pacing goes, it's pretty fast paced because it seems like it's based on a shorter series. Because I have never seen the original, but um, it's split. It's like got the situation that a lot of comedy series now split into two.
Right, right.
Each episode is like, I guess, a chapter or two chapters rather, just split in half.
Mhm.
Um, and it's pretty much it for that part. The only other thing I would say is I think the audio visuals are quite nice.
But
If you've seen other stuff from Leiden films, like
Near, correct
what
me
was
if
it?
I'm
Did
wrong.
you get that off the screen?
What?
What does he do?
Get it out of there.
Elphegor, dude. Now, near,
Get it out.
near. You played SMT, right?
Yeah.
Isn't Beelzebub? Doesn't Beelzebub drain lightning instead of being weak to it?
Um,
Or
if I remember right, I'm
like
pretty sure it's
nullified?
weak to
Nullified?
it,
Really?
but let me
Huh.
double check.
I don't remember.
Um, elemental stuff is on the wiki, right?
Yeah. Because I know.
Yeah.
So
Resists
Well, we get-
electric.
Yeah. Why is she scared of lightning? Did they not do their research?
No, probably because their research was that she was smited from God, and that was enough to fucking take her out and send her to hell. So can't be that resistant to it.
Maybe she's not afraid of lightning. She's afraid of a almighty element.
Yeah, she's got the fear of God in her.
But yeah, so that's that. I would say audiovisual wise, it's pretty good. If you've seen other stuff from Leiden films like Udon no Kuni and stuff like that, it's on par with that, where it's pretty pretty shiny in some situations.
What would you compare
It's
it
got a
to?
lot. It's got nice. Well, that. Wait, what do you mean?
Would
Like
you
audio
compare it to
visuals wise?
something like Komi-san? Because that got official English release.
Not an anime.
Okay.
So,
Well.
can
Yeah.
I ask? Can I ask a question? So, I'm this. So I'm reading. I'm gonna be honest. Just seeing this, and when I was talking about it in the previews as well as from what you explained, I already want to watch this series. But this seems to have pretty decent reception. In the usual places. But one thing, there's this thing that a person wrote, and it says, let me read the quote here. This show is satire, and that's in caps from top to bottom.
What does that mean?
Satire is not for everyone, and all types of satire are not for all types of satire lovers. If you don't care for satire, you may not enjoy this show. What did he mean by this? What did he mean by this? what did you hear?
Yeah,
What?
man. Yeah, exactly. I got nothing, dude, because it's not satire. I think this person doesn't know what the fuck satire means.
Is there is there something like subtle thing that you think people might miss in this show, or what's going
No,
on
it's
here?
pretty straightforward. There's no it's very like it's I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it's satirical, like if you really want to stretch the definition of what satire means, but it's not like they're doing like this shocking demonic shit to like shock you for the sake of shock and make you think about something or something like that. Like it's just
Or like
pretty
setting up actual
straightforward.
contrast, setting up pretty decent contrasts there.
Yeah, if anything, all it is a um what's it called? Not diversion of expectations, a subversion of expectations, if anything. Like that's as far as you can get. But subversion of expectations is not the same as satire, so yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know.
That's about where that goes.
It's
This
more kind of
person's
like
just fucking
lampshade kind of
stupid.
territory. Yeah.
Yeah, did you pull that from Mall?
Yes, I did.
Well, there you go. File that away with Schrodinger's cat, and we're all good.
Yeah, sure. Fucking, I can't believe somebody made
Schrodinger, it's Schrodinger's beam.
I can't believe they made a Schrodinger's cat and reference, like analogy, just because there was an actual like Schrodinger's cat conversation in this fucking series. They're like, oh, it's so deep, I can connect to Schrodinger's cat. It's like, no, you just say that because there was an actual Schrodinger's cat.
No, you just don't get it
Did you-
because like that was the experiment. Like Schrodinger's cat was in the box, and when you put your ear up to the box, you
That's the
only
metaphor
knew
for the
if it was
series.
alive because it would start talking about Schrodinger's cat.
Oh my god. Oh god.
That's
Did
why
you ever get a
Schrodinger's
response from
say
that, by
Schrodinger.
the way? Of like what?
Wait, what?
What they meant by Schrodinger's cat. You ever get a response on that?
So,
Completely like
yeah, from the person or about the series?
no, yeah,
No,
from the person.
From the person that I never got.
Of course not.
Disappointing.
Oh my god.
It's never the responses when you want.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when you ask deep questions, people aren't just aren't there. You have to find it for yourself. That's part of the excitement, guys.
That's part of
deep.
Schrodinger's cat.
Anyways, any last words? Any thoughts about the audiovisuals, or any more thoughts about the audiovisuals? So.
Yeah, so the audio visuals are pretty nice. I would say they are one of the best that Leiden has done
Mhm.
that I've seen. I haven't seen like a lot of Leiden film stuff, I will admit. But of what I've seen, I think it has better audio visuals than Koitu Uso, Killing Bites. Raku Danashi.
Rockadai
It's
Kichi?
got no, not
No.
quite.
Rokudenashi.
Yeah, so I think it's got quite a bit better than that. Maybe Hanabata would probably be another one to look at because that seemed pretty good audio visuals as well.
Okay.
But they seem to be picking it up as of, so
No.
that seemed nice. The certain like small details, which I guess makes sense for the show, like the elasticity of things is pretty well done, especially when it comes to food. Because a lot of the show is pretty basic, like pretty simplistic in the way a lot of the things are drawn.
Uh-huh.
They're like, there's a lot of stuff for food,
Right.
but like, let's say if they're drawing pudding, it's a pretty basic looking thing of pudding, but the way like they draw sort of like the physics and the motion of a spoon hitting it and then like just cutting through and then peeling it off
Right.
is really nicely done, exaggerated in a good way.
Okay. So they're taking a decent amount of care for like the more like relevant parts of slice of life stuff is sort of what you're
Mhm.
saying. Yeah. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So any last words? Would you recommend it? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I would highly recommend it. It's got a pretty good OP.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, if you like cute boys, you'll like the
I
show.
guess.
If you like cute girls, you'll like the show. It's got
Nice,
something
nice.
for everyone.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, with that, we are done with Beelzebub. Beelzebub. Beelzebub Jo no Okinimesu Mama, or as Miss Beelzebub likes, if you want to check out more slice of life stuff with a little bit of trivia about demon trivia thrown in, then please do check it out. And with that, you're on to the next person, Toast. What do you have for us?
Dark, what was I supposed to cover again?
You were supposed to cover
Juliet.
Juliet,
Yes.
but there's also a mystery in the box here.
Okay, so Kishkugak boarding school Juliet.
Kakunobori. Wait, what?
What? I don't think that was close to the title at all.
No. Kishikugaku is boarding school. It's not Kishikugaku no boarding school Juliet.
Kishiku boarding school Juliet
No. Wait a minute.
is an anime about. You seen the '90s remake of Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and the other chick?
That is my favorite rendition. Actually,
I like that movie too.
I unironically enjoy them.
I know, right? It's pretty good. Well,
Okay,
it's
good.
not this.
It's not.
Well, fuck, dude, pack it up.
I'm glad.
Thanks for the review.
That was gonna be my next question. Is it like that?
It's more similar to Okami-san and her seven companions, really, with
Okay.
how fairy tale-esque it is. Because you got or maybe it's more like a.
Well, Okami-san is definitely more.
What was that one anime with with Queen Latifah in it and Snoop Dogg?
Oh, Amagami Park or whatever?
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah. I'm a brilliant part.
Amagi Brilliant
Well,
Park.
it's not that either, because it's about this. It's
So it doesn't even have Kanye in it?
I wish.
Where's Oprah Winfrey in this?
You got the dude named Romeo Inuzuka, not Romeo. Was it Montague, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
got the Inuzukas versus the Persias.
Okay. Yes.
Because instead of you got the Montagues and Capulets, or is that Hamlet? That's not Hamlet, is it?
No, it's Montague.
Alright,
You're right.
No,
Alright.
Hamlet is another performance. Another play completely. Yeah.
So you got the black dogs, which is Romeo's family, versus the white cats, which is Juliet's family. And they're at odds with each other. But then Romeo was like, "Oh, I love you, Juliet," and she's like, "Oh, I love you too, Romeo." And then it's
So what you're telling me is that the whole
Yes.
fucking Romeo and Juliet was not enough of a contrast for these people. They needed black dogs and white cats just to really drive it home.
oh shit, I didn't change the picture.
God.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so that's a
I
good
mean,
start. Tell me more.
Who
Who is
how
this
in-
Romeo and who is this Juliet?
You know how in Nisekoi you got that dude's family who's like Yakuza, and then Chitoge's family, which is the mob. I guess it's kind of like that. But instead of them openly faking their Nisekoi, it's the opposite in this one where the dude's like, oh, we like each other, but we gotta hide it because our families are apart, or our families are fighting. That's about it.
Wow, it's almost like Romeo and Juliet or something, huh?
Sounds awfully familiar.
Can I ask something? So,
What's Romeo's friend's name? DeMarco? No.
No, it's not DeMarco.
it's you're pulling out random Italian sounding names.
Mercutio. There we go. Yeah.
Yes, Mercutio.
Yeah.
Mercutio, played by a black guy, but in this one he's not black. He's voiced by Ayane Sakura.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty close, you know.
Ayane Sakura is pretty black, but you can go on. Yes. Okay.
I mean, remember that?
Okay, Toast. Can I ask a question?
I don't know.
How is this series not like Romeo? and Juliet?
Yeah, you're
You
literally
have to-
just comparing it to
all
Romeo
you've
and
been
Juliet.
describing is just regular Romeo and Juliet.
Oh my god. But okay, so what
don't know.
I'm
Is
What I'm-
Mercutio dead yet?
No. Mercutio's
that's a
Mercutio's her name's Husky Komai, and she's a cute girl, so you can't kill her off.
Did she plague both of their houses yet?
I wish.
so can I ask something? So this is pretty standard, like this is pretty standard rom-com, right? It's more just like how do I say
Sure.
this? Is it harem or what's going on
Not
here? I think
harem-
it's harem, right?
It can't be harem if the people are already in a couple. That's not how harem works. Even
What do you
though there's
mean?
like 5 girls on the cover, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I mean,
no,
that,
I think
that,
it
guess,
matters.
is the major question. Like, but
I
I
think-
think what you're getting at. So what you're saying is it's just it's rom com, like the relationships there, but those are just supporting characters.
Sure. Yeah. Do you consider Nisekoi a harem spire?
Yes.
How-
Yes.
How?
Well, I mean,
how-
is there even Toast? Is there even a love triangle
Not
in
really.
this show?
Not
Well, there
really.
you go. Then it's just a romance.
If Roms and Jules are
Wait. Can we
if
trust
Rob's
us on
and-
what he's just said?
if Roms and Jules
Yeah.
already are in a dating relationship like first episode, there is no
Wait,
romantic
can I
things.
ask something?
I mean, when Spire's involved, there's no like real answer there.
Yeah, he literally just asked me. Toast literally just asked me whether whether I think that Nisekoi was a harem. Like Nisekoi is obviously.
It
a
is
harem.
not. It is not. If Chitoge and
Oh,
Raku have been in a relationship since the
shut
start.
up! Shut.
So anyway,
I don't know,
about
man,
it,
I agree.
it's pretty good.
Okay. Are there any major differences with Romeo and Juliet other than the fact that, or rather, do you think that the whole Romeo and Juliet thing is sticking, or is it just like basically, they're just saying, hey, Romeo and Juliet because their families don't like each other?
Pretty much. That's
There's
what I
not a
think.
lot of depth to it, really.
Not really. I mean, none of them's named Mercutio or what's the other guy's name? Tybalt? Yeah, Tybalt. Tybalt's a cool dude. There's no Tybalt. Tybalt's also a girl. I think. Is that?
So,
Does anyone get shot
No.
to the song
No.
When Doves Cry?
so
no.
I have a question.
Well-
So,
This show sucks.
No poison swords either. Is that? No, that's Hamlet. I don't know anymore.
Does
So-
anybody bite their thumb at each other?
bite your thumb
I
at
don't
me.
remember.
Can I ask something?
How does Romeo and Juliet end anyway?
They fucking lovers suicide. It's like the
Do
most
you really?
famous ending
Do
in
you
literature. What do you? What?
Wait,
Then where?
no, hold on.
Who has?
How
the-
did you forget? You just said you like the 2000. You like the 1990.
I remember.
How could you forget that ending? Because that ending, honestly, is better than the original.
I remember guns.
Think
but what,
about it.
What was there? A poisoned sword.
No, there wasn't a poisoned sword. What happened is that
Which
Juliet, they think that Juliet got poisoned, and she pretends to be poisoned
Did she
or
not
whatever.
get poisoned with the sword?
Yeah.
No, she doesn't get
It was a
poisoned
fake
at all.
poison. It's like
It's
she
a fake
wants to be
poison that
death
was supposed to
state.
knock her out.
Death state, right?
Yeah.
That's, exactly.
And then what happens is she opens her eyes and
she
sees Romeo, and she's like, "Oh shit, you drank the poison."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
she blows
actually-
her brains out because she sees him die in front of her and realizes too that he fucked up, but it was too late.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why the 1990 remake is better than the original.
Shut up.
Because it involves a gun. But
No,
yeah,
because that ending's pretty cool, man.
yeah.
How like she wakes up and he sees her wake up and he's like, "Oh fuck," and then he dies anyway.
It's just
Pretty cool, dude. Pretty good ending.
Stupid.
It's better than just them being dead.
shut up. But anyways, so what I'm wondering is like, so how much of a how does the distribution go in this harem series? So is it like, is there a decent like heavy focus on the main heroine, or is this like Data Life, like for all like complaints I say about it, does like every volume it kind of like has the last couple of paragraphs where it goes like Shiro goes back to Toka and stuff like that, right? And it's like, oh, at the end of the day, I also want to remember Toka, stuff like that, and that's kind of par for the course. But there are some series that split up the distribution a little bit more, right? But does it go back to the main heroine after every sort of arc, or is there a very sort of even distribution between the heroines and Kishikako no Juliet?
Huh? I was trying to figure out where the poison sword was from.
Oh my god! Is there an even distribution of how the plot is spread, like how the episodes are spread among the heroines of the harem, or is there a slight bigger focus, as is more standard now these days, on the main heroine?
I guess that because the way they secretly date is Juliet dresses up as a black dog boy named Julio, so she hangs out with Romeo by giving him cookies and stuff. So it's something like Romeo might secretly like dudes. The dude's named
Yeah.
Julio. How do you pronounce Julio?
Julio, it's not. But
I
anyway.
mean, hey man, you've already piqued my interest by telling me there's a character named Julio, and so I'm pretty interested.
That's beside the point. It's an alright series.
He's like slowly dying, like again, just like like right now, he's just like not even rolling.
It's an alright series. I'd recommend it, I guess.
It's a pretty standard. It's a pretty standard.
I guess.
How much? How?
It's not
fast paced
as good as the 90s remake movie featuring Leonardo DiCaprio. So if you wanna watch
An authentic Romeo and Juliet experience.
if you wanna watch a real anime, you should watch that. But anyway, that's that. I also watched this other show called So I also watched Alicization. Woo! Yeah. And so
How'd that go?
We're not going to talk about Alicization, but again, thank you, Toast, for
What?
helping us cover.
you want
helping
to hear
us-
about Alicization, Dark?
No, I don't want to hear about Alicization, Toast. I do not want to hear about Alicization. That is like not even on the list of things that I specifically
Dude,
want to
but
hear.
it's the best
okay?
arc in Sword Art since the first half of season 1.
Yeah.
I agree, but fuck you anyways. So-
Spire.
Biggest show of the year.
Spire.
Actually, no, I don't even agree with that.
Spire.
Alicization is still garbage. Fuck that.
Spire. There's a
I
reason
hate
why. There's a reason why this is 11 volumes out of the 20 current Sword Art Online volumes.
that. Oh my god! Fuck you!
Because
Fuck
it-
you! Okay, we're moving on.
Because repairing Kirito's brain is a very big
Yeah,
job.
so let me summarize the
Big
basic
thing-
plot
no,
of
no.
Alicization.
We're not doing this.
So after the events of
GGO.
GGO.
I will actually fucking boot you from the recording channel for a bit if you do that stuff.
After the events of GGO, one of the
Okay.
survivors
So you can't even
So-
do it.
stabs
Oh my
Kirito with a drug.
All right, shut the fuck up. seriously.
Now he's in a coma.
All right, let me go on to what I want to cover, which was it's just 2 shorts for now. I didn't want to do anything super long, nor did I really have any interest in doing anything super long. So I covered. So I watched Okoshiyasu Chitose-chan.
Is that the
And,
3-minute one?
Yes, both are shorts.
Fucking cheater.
You want to cover a 3-minute one, but you won't let me cover Alicization.
No, I'm not going to let you cover Alicization, even if I had a longer series.
But it's longer. It has to be more important.
Yeah. So Okoshiyasu Chitose-chan, and then also Jingai-san no Yome. So Okoshiyasu Chitose-chan is the reason why I did 2 was because Chitose-chan didn't really. I mean, both of them were shorts, but also Chitose-chan only has like 3 episodes or 4 episodes out right now that are subbed. So it's like whatever. But anyways, it's a Josei series, and so covered by second like 3rd tier studio gathering, and it's literally about a penguin traveling through Kyoto, and just kind of taking in the sights. And they obviously have like various trivia. Like you can visit like this like Fushimi Inari Shrine or Jinjo or whatever it is. You can visit this tourist site here, blah blah blah. And it's like all this trivia, and then the penguin goes around, and it's weird because it's like I thought the penguin would be talking, but the penguin doesn't, and the penguin just squeaks, and I'm not sure what this is all about. So it just literally goes around, and then there's another part where it's like, what is it? Like another aspect of it that I found kind of weird was the fact that like it's like the penguin, like first obviously like they have to make it so that the penguin like isn't weird in surroundings, right? It's like everybody's just like, "Hello, penguin, what's up?" Like it's some sort of like Sesame Street stuff, right?
Penguin walks in and gets dabbed.
Yeah,
Is that telling?
yeah. It's like here's some ice cream, penguin. It's like okay, and then
Walks in, my man.
yeah, exactly. No, like they're actually like, "Hey, man, why don't you stay in this town for a while longer?" It's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, is this like some like South Side of Chicago stuff? Like, what's going on here? Like,
Are you a Capulet or are you a Montague?
toast. But
Oh my god, Nisekoi literally is Romeo and Juliet.
Oh my god, shut up. But the weirdest part is, it's like, so they're explaining it, and it's like usually you see like in these sorts of series, you see like the main character like just kind of walk around. And it's like, oh, I'm over here, and then walk over to like the cafe or whatever. But it's like the series has like, because it's trying to explain a lot of things, and it's also trying to like make it kind of cutesy. It has like the penguin just like appear in like random places, and I don't know how to explain it, but it's like those like are they called rickshaws? The thing that like the rickshaws, yeah, exactly, rickshaws, where it's like they're like tourist like rickshaws, right, that get carried around like Kyoto or whatever. And for those of you who don't know, Kyoto is like the west. It's like
Kyoto is where Kenshin fought Shishio at Mount Hiei for the
you.
future of Japan.
Kyoto is like an sort of like an older traditional quote unquote
Kyoto is the
western
old
part of
city.
Japan.
It's the old capital.
Exactly. The old western part of Japan, the old capital, and there's like a whole bunch of like cultural sites and stuff like that. But so there's like the scene where it's like they do all these random cuts with the penguin. The penguin gets ice cream. The penguin like walks around with like random girls and stuff like that. And then there's this like old couple on a rickshaw, and suddenly like in between the old couple, just like the penguin like randomly pops up between them. It's like, and it's like, what the fuck? Wait, where's this penguin going?
It's our local Kyoto penguin.
Yeah, and it's like this. It's like so random, and I don't really know what's going on. But I guess it happens. Overall, I find it kind of cute. The audio visuals are obviously a little bit lacking, but it was sort of not what I expected. I expected like the penguin was going to have like introspective thoughts or something like that, right? Like actually, like there's going to be like human dialogue, but the penguin just doesn't say anything. The penguin literally doesn't say anything. It's like the narrator's just like, yeah, here's a shrine, and the penguin's just like, yee, or whatever.
Now, is the penguin voiced by Mino Mamoru?
Shit, I hope so.
Is the penguin...
And follow-up question, do you think this penguin has done more for Kyoto than zombies have done for Saga?
You mean if then zombies have done for trans people?
Yeah, and furthermore, is the penguin trans?
Is a penguin? It's a gender non-binary.
More
And
importantly,
also dead.
Yes, it did.
more importantly, who would win in a fight, this penguin or Banania?
Oh my god.
Oof. Wait, what if it's like a King of the Ring, a Royal Rumble, if you
God
will,
damn it!
and we throw in Nyanbo and
God, they don't actually.
There's no battle arc to this penguin story.
Yes, there's also no battle arc, but also there's no voice actor listed.
There's no
Or-
rival penguin either. Like
Yeah.
like instead of if he's black and white, there's a white and black penguin.
Oh my god.
What?
But anyways,
yeah,
Anyways.
see, look at the card, dude.
Uh,
Have you
Inverted
have you
penguin.
not seen Happy Feet?
All right.
That's
Well,
true too. Does he dance?
anyways, so that was Chitose-chan. And if you want to check out something very, very light, like very light, even for a short, and just a penguin walking around and some Kyoto trivia, check that out. And the other one I watched, and this one was a little bit cooler, was Jingai-san no Yome. And so this is another short, and a school student. So there's a school student. His name is Hinoa Tomari, and he says he's become a wife of a creature called Kanenogi, and he specifically has become a wife, not a husband. Okay, so he's
That
so
Wow, that's so progressive.
okay in the year 20.
Yeah, that is okay. It is 2018, but anyways, he has become the wife of a creature called Kanenogi, which a picture I believe Tosh should be putting up shortly here. But so it is a white sort of like weird lamb, two-legged monster thing, but it's like supposed to be really cute or whatever. And
I don't agree with that sentiment.
Does the main character have a weird eye problem like the dude in Sayano Uta?
no, that would be pretty funny though. But Jingai-san no Yome, so he's like, what's going on? But then he kind of ends up just getting along with the monster or whatever. And as every episode after that, every episode, they introduce like a new pairing. So it's not just him that has to be the wife of a monster. Pretty much like everybody else in the school, like every other boy in the school like hooks up with like a different like monster or whatever, and they all have these different properties, and it's very weird. I'm not entirely sure how to describe it, but it's like describing the habits of these monsters and like how they interact with like the boys or whatever, right? But it's
Alright.
so
Spire left
so near
speechless
so near.
at the notion of men being wives.
Near, how much do you know about quantum brain theory?
I don't want to do this.
Because it,
no, we're not going back to Alicization.
welcome back, Spire. How much do you know about quantum brain theory?
No, shut up. So Jingai-san no Yome, I think it's actually a pretty funny. Like, I actually like a decent amount of like the surrealist humor. It's kind of weird. Like the initial part, like the first section of each episode is weird because it's like you're like, well, yeah, I guess I'm being introduced to this, but I feel kind of like it's not useful. Like, are we really having another pair? And this pair doesn't seem that interesting. But then they like on the latter half, they pull out all these like different like facts about like the monster or whatever and how they interact, and it's actually pretty funny. So
Spire, let me ask you this real quick.
no, what's
Let
going
me
on
ask you
here?
this real quick. Now who determines these marriages? Is this political or is
What?
this romantic?
Yeah, do men in black suits show up and hand them a form and say, "This is your assigned spouse"
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
your government.
at
your
midnight in a park?
Yeah, you did not explain how they got married.
Yeah.
That's the thing I want to know.
Yeah, apparently they just tell him it's like
So-
like the school people call them up and they're like, by the way, you're married to this person
So
or
it's,
this
so
monster.
it's political, or is it governmental, or is it like the Amazons where they just pick you up like a sack
The
of
Amazons? Excuse me? Wait.
I don't think you can say that.
Do you
I
not
don't
know
think
how
that-
Amazonian women find mates? According to Futurama, they just sling you over their. They just
Fucking death by snoo snoo.
they just grab you by the legs and bring you in for snoo snoo.
There's so many different titles that are possible for this episode already. Like Nisekoi isn't a hero. Like according to
Fucking
Futurama.
Death
Like
by news.
but anyways, so it is actually pretty funny. And it's like, for instance, there's this like part in the what is it? It's like in the show where it's like, oh, it's time to sleep, and then and then the monster like first of all like sleeps like perpendicular to like where the bed is, and then suddenly like in the middle of the night, just like the eyes turn on, it's like, and it's like fucking car flashlights for the entire night. He's like, how does he sleep like this? Also, that's very scary. Like just like all these real shit happens with these monsters, and it's not like it's not focusing on like slapstick or anything like that necessarily, like how Nichijou did with its surreal humor. But it is a very like cheesy, like more warm style of surreal humor that I haven't really encountered in a while. I would say it's definitely different from the type of thing that Pop Team Epic, for instance, try to pull, where it's like Pop Team Epic tried to rely very heavily on uh, something becoming mimetic. So
Oh no,
something
there
becoming
comes that word again.
repeatable. Yeah, yes, something becoming repeatable, something becoming viral, something becoming so like non sequitur that like it just kind of becomes funny in a sense. But this one actually tries to make something so like surreal, like this like is so weird, like this doesn't make sense, instead of just being like deadpan kind of stuff. So
So
I really
So
appreciate
are
it
you
for that.
trying to tell me that this fluffy creature didn't run on screen, dance a jig, and scream "I'm me"?
Yeah,
Damn.
or
so
just punch something, punch the other person and say, "Are you angry?" like 1,000 times in a row.
so what's the relationship between the dude and the Yome? Is there some sort of
No, no, he is the Yome, he is the bride, but
between the
Jing guy.
dude and the Danna, I guess?
Yes,
Is there
yes.
some sort of is there any hints at some sort of romantic tension between these two, or is it
No, it's more
just
just like the monster is just like at the end of the series, the monster just like clomps him on the head, and he's like, "Oh, is this play biting?" like he treats it almost like more of a pet. But again, the humor is kind of
so there's no romantic. You can't get married without
What the
there being
fuck are
any
you talking?
romance in there. That's not something you should be teaching the children.
what?
Yeah. Can't
Okay.
You
can't.
you you should be free to marry whoever you want. Like even if it's some sort of alien Yome.
But it's not. You're the only.
Anyways, so that's all sort of all I want to say about the two shows I watched. Both are pretty light, I think. Like, I want to say they're definitely both lighter, like much lighter than the shorts I've seen before. Like even before, like, um, I don't know, like stuff like Wakakozake. You know, you've seen that series in here, right? And like, and stuff like the mountain one. Which one was it? Fuck. The mountain climbing one or the hiking one.
Yama no Susume is
Yes, Yamano Susume, that
There you
later
go.
become full series before it was a short. Both of those were much more involved, I would say. Like much more detail, much more setting up the relationships, much more like going through the paces of a full series, but just shorter. But these are like even Wakakozake like is episodic, but like it's more like settled. Like it goes through all the details. It has a theme. It goes through all the it goes through all the things that it needs to explore in the episode that it has set up, right? Near, like you would agree with me on this, right? It's
Yeah.
not really like it's like a full series, but it's just trying to be really short, as opposed to just like like these things are happening, okay, it's done, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But these are definitely of the latter type, where it's like it's kind of throwing a lot of stuff out there, but I still enjoy them pretty much. They were relatively coherent, and it's not they sold what they wanted to sell. So I would definitely recommend both of them. But yeah, that was just me talk about those two shorts. And last but definitely not least, Nier is about to break another pretty big name for the fall 2018 season, and last show that we are going to officially review for the fall 2018 season.
Haha. Let me get my tab. So I watched, this show from the studio that you may not have heard of. Kyoto Animation. So,
This little studio.
what is Kyoto Animation made recently?
just stuff. I watched Tsurune Kazumai Koko Kyudobu.
Yeah, it's
Um,
what is it? Let me see. Yeah, Kazuma Koko Kyodobu or Kazuma High School Archery Club, right? Yeah.
yeah. Um, and it is a show about boys and they're
I love
doing.
I like wait, you mean archery, right? And then you go
Mm,
wait. I like you too. Can we ease into it? Can we ease
Are
into it?
you saying this is the Yuri on Ice of archery?
Are you
In the
saying
Yuri
this
on Ice
is
of boys?
the free?
Are you saying this is like the Kuroko no Basket but with more boys?
with more Japanese lunchtime break? No. Um, so Tsurune is a show about archery, kyudo as they call it in Nippon. Um,
Mm.
it follows the story of a young lad named Minato, and he really likes archery. And the series starts off with a scene where he's a little kid, and he hears like the sound that like the bow string makes when you shoot the arrow, and it makes like that thwip, and he's like, "Whoa, that was epic!" And then,
Yeah.
his mom
He
is like,
gets hit by
"That's
an arrow moments later.
yeah," gets shot right in the head. But he's like, "What's that sound?" And his mom says it's called tsurune, and he's like, "Wow, I want to do kyudo too." Um, and then it, fast forwards to him in middle school, and he's doing kyudo. Um, but he develops they call it target panic, but it's basically just like stage fright, um, where I guess basically you get super nervous because of the competition or whatever, and when you're drawing back the ball, you release it too early because like your hands are shaking or whatever, and obviously because of that you can't hit shit because you like can't even aim.
Mhm.
Um,
Kyudo's
so
more about the actual process of drawing the bow rather than shooting, right? It's more about
uh,
the form rather than the.
I
yeah,
mean, a
it's about
lot.
the form.
To be fair,
The
a lot of these sorts of sort of older, I want to say athletic activities that are more like Japan more is more like these are more traditional stuff are all kind of like that. You know what I mean? Even
yeah,
with stuff
it's
like
more
karate,
it's
it's a lot
ceremonial,
of more
right?
of a form. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he drops Kudo in middle school because he's like, man, I suck. Um,
He has like he has a sort of like nervous semi like he becomes nervous of sorts and starts having like aiming issues and then they continue like
yeah. Um,
in
and then
certain
he ends up in high school, and his uh friend, the glasses lad, the calm, cool, collected glasses man, that we all know and love, invites him to join the Kudo club, and he's like, I don't like Kudo anymore. I'm not good at it.
yeah.
And basically, the story is basically, it's just him kind of getting over his target panic, and it's, I mean, it's kind of just the basic sports tournament series, right? But instead of um, it kind of being just a generic like sports, training montage thing, it's been more of a story of like camaraderie and teamwork and stuff. Because the general arc so far, at least in the first like half of the series, has pretty much just been the entire cast is as as casts of all male uh, stories tend to be, they're they're very different, very dynamic. They have very uh, I guess clashing personalities, and they butt
So
heads every once in a while.
yeah. So I did watch this and I can kind of help add a little bit with what Nira's saying. It's like I haven't watched like the last like two episodes or something like that, but a lot of it seems like after the initial sort of I want would you be offended if I said relatively standard developments for a sports series, for more recent sports series, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I've said it a lot on this podcast. I don't really watch sports series, so
yeah,
like the stuff I do watch,
it's
I
like
can't.
Kawhi, where it's like softened up a little
Yeah,
bit.
I can't really comment on like the like general flow that most sports series go through and whether
Mhm.
this is like comparable or not. But to me, it feels pretty similar to most of the
Right.
sports series that I've watched, right?
But after that, it kind of goes through the whole like it focuses a lot more on the team interaction development, and then
Yeah,
it flows. It'll probably flow a lot more into the heavily more into the actually doing the competition stuff. But like right now, it's a little bit more in and out of the team interaction arc.
yeah. The main focus for the beginning is mostly seems to be um, just the team kind of getting over their differences and
Mm-hmm.
together as
Background, etc. Yeah.
bros, um, which I liked. It
Mhm.
was fun. The
I kind of
character interactions are really
I think it's pretty. I mean, like they're pretty normal. It's not like there are any super wag except for like that one guy who get like Onogi, right? Who keeps getting super angry like all the time, and everybody like the thing is, I don't know, like
well.
it
I mean,
feels
that's the trope. That's the character trope, right? Like
yeah,
that guy's in every fucking.
yeah, he is, but I just wish he like you know what I mean? Because it's like I wish it was a little bit in moderation. I kind of get it now, where it's like now that I keep like seeing it like reoccur, right, in these sorts of series, I kind of get it when it's like when like girls see like are like sometimes introduced like to tsundere stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, why is this girl like this, right? Like you know when they say that, I kind of feel the same way. You know what I
I
mean? Like
mean,
it's just
y-
like why
it's
is this
funny.
kind of
It's
like
funny
this?
you say that because I felt the same way about Onagi too. Because he starts off like he's very hostile, right? He's very standoffish, and he kind of just blows up for no reason. Um,
Mhm.
but in episode like 5 and 6, he really lightens up, and he's actually become my favorite character.
Yeah.
I like him quite a bit.
Yeah, when he lightens up, it's like really. I just wish that like the way he was introduced, like his change is fine, but I wish he wasn't just introduced as like
Yeah,
he's a problem that you have to solve. Like you know what I
he's
mean?
introduced as the guy that's just like, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's introduced as a problem that the main character and sort of the other people in the cast has to go through solving in a sense, right?
yeah,
He's not really introduced as a character, although he later does become one,
yeah.
right? Yeah, which is sort of
Um,
problematic.
yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but
Yeah,
I do like him.
yeah,
He's a fun character, and I mean all of them I think are really really fun. I think the character interactions in the show are really good. I think I mean they're a lot better than Free in my opinion. Because Free to me just kind of felt like tropes kind of just slapping against each other. This show feels a little bit more organic, which is nice.
yeah. Some of the faces like some earlier on when with Kyoani kind of like weirded me out. Like this is just a little bit like audiovisual tangent, but it's like when the faces are looking at you like dead on, right? That was a
Yeah.
little bit weird, but it kind of became much better afterwards. But
It's because it's a Fujo show, dude. They gotta have the boys
because
looking right
you
into the
know it's like
camera.
some of those early scenes were like Ryohei, like the tall dude, right? The tall dude with like the dirty blonde like brownish hair or whatever it is, was looking at the main character like dead on. Like those faces kind of weirded me out, but afterwards it kind of ended up being better, I think. But so what I kind of wanted to ask you was, so you know how one of the base problems is, I mean, there's like teamwork thing and the individual differences aspect, right?
Mhm.
That's introduced and that'll continue, right? But the base work is the main character sort of getting over, like how do I reconcile my love for archery, my fear for not knowing how do I fix this, and sort of the struggle, right? The struggle and this pain of trying to get better, right? How do I reconcile all of this, right? And
Mhm.
how do I find sort of my way to improving, right? Because they don't necessarily want to just show what is it like? The series doesn't necessarily just want to show just he got better just centimeter by centimeter, inch by inch, and then later on, like a year passes and he becomes pretty good. Like that's not what they want to show, right? They want to show some sort of like
Yeah,
snap,
there's
like
gonna be some revelatory moment, right?
yeah, exactly. So, what do you if you had to make some sort of like prediction, what do you think that's going to be, or how do you think that's going to form out? And and do you think if it doesn't necessarily form out that well, like if this series kind of like falls flat on its face and doesn't really show that well or makes it pretty standard, do you think that's important enough? Do you think that's important to the series? And the reason why I ask whether it's important to the series is because they could do this thing where they kind of shift this to, again, having a much more like teamwork, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, you're still bad, but we can kind of just, like you can kind of keep just improving or whatever it is, right? Do some
shit, but
yeah,
you can hang
do
out.
some moral story on like mediocrity failure, right? Or not mediocrity failure, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. It's tricky, right? Because even in just the first 6 episodes, the sports aspect of the show, it kind of takes a back seat, right? It's a lot about, I was thinking this when I was watching the show, but I wasn't really sure if it was like an accurate, like, just thing to think, right? But what I was thinking when I was watching it, I was just kind of like, this show is uh, sort of like all those, slice of life, school club series with girls, but this one's just with boys, right?
Yeah.
And then the sports Kyudo like club aspect is kind of just a backdrop in a sense, right? But I think since a lot of the like the teamwork stuff, the camaraderie stuff, it's sort of I think it's kind of hit its peak and it's kind of just gonna go straight from there. I think the
Tournaments,
sports,
stuff like that. Yeah.
the sports stuff is gonna come out a lot more with the tournament.
Do you smell a crisis moment? Like how it's like how it's like the Disney arc is always like it goes up and up and up, through the training arc, and then it's like, yeah, we can do this, and then suddenly, boom, there's this crisis, and they go down to the valley of despair.
Yeah, I
and
mean
from
they're
that point-
building up to I guess the supposed, I don't know if it's really gonna clash, but like the meeting of like the old like the middle school teammate who's in the quote unquote prestigious archery club school. I forget what his name is. Shu, I think, like the brown haired, wavy haired guy.
Right.
He's supposed to be like super super talented and he loves archery and he's so awesome. And like they're kind of like, if we enter this tournament, we're gonna have to go against him, right?
Mhm.
And then the main character is kind of just like, yeah, whatever. He's probably forgotten about me, right?
Right.
But I think that meeting is probably going to be, like big, important moment in the tournament, thing. It's probably going to be like, he sees him and he sees how good he is, and he's going to get like, he's going to get super nervous or whatever. But then there's going to, something, something about his teammates or his sensei, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, now I see the real meaning of Tsurune all along," and he's gonna get over his stage fright. I mean, that's probably just gonna be the pretty simple flow of like how he gets over it, right?
Right.
I don't think it's gonna be anything too original, honestly.
The thing is, I mean, I'm okay with the character interactions here, but I kind of wish they'd focused a little bit. Yeah, I mean, look, it's like I mean, it's trying to. When you say it has a slice of life side, I would disagree in a sense, but only slightly. So, Prince of the Universe says there's like a slice of life side and like a sports side, and I see where it's coming from. But what I would describe it as is that it's a heavily sports series. It's like a pretty standard sports series, but Kyoto Animation is slowing it down a decent amount. so that you can see these introspections and these retrospections that are much more uh, a paradigm or a pattern of the slice of life stuff that Kyoto Animation usually runs. Would you agree with me here on this? So sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, did you? I don't know. How far did you get again? Because
I just passed the part where they were at the fuck. The most significant thing I remember was was just after they saved the hat, right? Or
yeah,
he saved the hat or whatever.
that's the thing I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's kind of what I saw as like the slice of life aspect of the show,
Mhm.
where they go out shopping and they're talking to each other about a couple of characters like histories and stuff. And to me, that was a very slice of life thing to have in a sports series, right?
Right,
And
right.
I probably agree with you that like that part of the show is probably a result of like the way KyoAni's doing
Mhm.
the show, and just like it's a sports series, but because it's not like
Because KyoAni is trying to emphasize those like slower moments a lot.
yeah, I mean it's not like an actiony sport, right?
Yeah.
It's Kudo. It's a very ceremonial sport. It's a very slow sport. And it's all about, form. So it's not like they can't really fill time with like, oh, the match is, all
Yeah, I mean it's not like Ace of
hype and
Diamond or something like that,
yeah,
right? It's not Ace
they
of
can't do
Diamond.
high Q shit where it's like,
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's like,
Prince of Tennis, yeah.
yeah, they can't do stuff like that. They have
Roaring
to
Tiger.
focus.
There's no stuff where like the archer guys sniping from the roof of a helicopter thing,
No,
sniping at
unfortunately
Berserker
not.
from at the graveyard. No.
No.
There's nothing where he fires an arrow, ghost hand leads it to the target.
No. But I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think the quote unquote slice of life bits of this series are kind of just a result of the sport that this series is kind of using, and that it's a slower sport, and because of that, this series is kind of in a sense forced to focus almost purely on the characters, right? Like it can't delve that much into like the training for the tournament arc, right? Because it's archery, right? There's
Yeah.
only so much you can focus on with training. So yeah, I'd probably agree that it's not necessarily a slice of life series, but just because of the nature of the pacing,
Right,
that
exactly.
those slice of life moments they come out a lot more. The character development moments, they come out a lot more, and you can see a lot more moments of like character motivations, character backstory, stuff like that.
Yeah. One thing I really, really hope, again, like I don't necessarily have anything like really against sports series. I'm like people like sports series, like I can see the value of them and like why people watch them and stuff like that. But there are, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to watch this training arc for like the 50th time, right? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But one thing I really hope that they do cover, like in some part, and kind of give a satisfying resolution, is like, again, the idea of what exactly, how the guy like finds his form or his Surune. You know what I mean? Like he hears a Surune and he's starting to become like really good. And there's gonna be some, like, again, as we discussed, like some sort of revelation, and he's gonna get it. And I hope that revelation isn't just like, oh, teamwork.
Yeah, the power of friendship. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just hope it's like the writers put a little bit more thought into it. You know what I mean? And try to come up with like their sort of version of like a little bit more unique answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say really what the motive or like what the revelation can really be,
Yeah,
because
because it's the initial problem is so vague.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's also the fact that the series itself hasn't really delved too much into the like inner monologue of the actual main character, right?
Right.
A lot of this series has been about, to be honest, it's mostly been about Onogi so far, right?
Right.
Because he's kind of the big, loud, I guess, he's the big, loud, like bright, shining red problem in the room, and so I guess the series' main focus was, to delve into this character and make him into, a I guess functioning member of the team, right?
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
And then now, in episode 6, which I think is the latest episode, I'm pretty sure, it seems to be delving more into the sensei, which I kind of like because he's pretty interesting.
Masa
But,
or like the old guy.
Masa, yeah,
Okay,
the
yeah.
weird guy. But yeah, he's
He's
pretty cool.
he's essentially the if we're really going to make the Yuri on Ice analogy, he is essentially the I want to say the silver haired dude, right?
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of gay for him. But yeah, the series hasn't really delved too much into the actual main character,
Mhm.
which I'm not sure if I'm like really all that worried about, because I mean we're 6 episodes in, but I think this series has time to really flesh that out, in my opinion.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this show is pretty good, honestly. I was kind of wary, right? Because it's Kiyoani doing another like boys focused sports series, right? But in
Now,
my
why
opinion,
would you be worried about that?
I don't know. But in my opinion, I think this is just I think it's a lot better than Free. I think the
Well,
fact
free started out like much like the thing is there are slight like vague and like slightly like pretentious stuff on here too, but like free started out pretty fucking like pretentious, and then it split into the whole like usual like talent versus determination thing, right? It's like free
well
is just like
the problem I had
I love
with
the water, like
yeah, the problem I had with Free was that it starts off and the guy's honestly he's fucking retarded, right? The main character is just
he
like,
loves the water.
I love swimming. It's
It's like
great. And then it's like, okay, like where's the character, right? And then immediately it's just like, I'm the rival. I have shark teeth. I'm awesome. And
Wait,
That-
did he?
that-
And he's also like he's bragging about being to like Australia or whatever, right? I think.
yeah,
does he use the shark teeth to pull back his bow or something?
No, he's a swimmer. He's a swimmer.
Oh.
this is free.
Oh,
And then they do that dumb swim in like the fucking abandoned like school swim
yeah,
pool or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Like, Free's entire beginning was just fucking like it was really dumb.
It was not
And
good.
I think it
It
really
was
plagued
not
like
good.
just the rest of the series. It
Yeah.
just fucked up all the character interactions. And like I said earlier, Free to me kind of just felt like tropes slapping against each other.
Yeah.
They didn't really feel too fleshed out. They didn't really feel like they were really interacting.
They were like, we want to drive this strongly, but then like the thing they were trying to drive strongly wasn't like very well like thought out. But then they
Yeah.
tried to
With Tsurune, I mean, it's a boy focused show. It's aimed at Fujoshi. The characters are still very tropey, but like I think feel like they're toned back a lot more than a lot of other like Fujoshi focused shows, because some of these like near yaoi shows, like they're the tropes are really really like just front and center, and it's kind of just the base of their entire character.
right, exactly.
But this one, like the tropes are there, but it's not they're not just the tropes. So I feel
It's
like
a lot again. It's a lot more like they settle with the characters, and then they kind of had the characters bounce up against each other. And
Yeah.
with again Onogi, other than how Onogi was at the beginning, the other characters are a little bit more like they're a little bit more quiet and a little bit more regular people.
Yeah, they
So,
feel like it anyway, which
Yeah.
is nice. But in regards to Dark's comment about like the ghost guiding hand,
Are you sure it's not just a servant? In
no, I did really like. I mean, this is kind of a small thing, but it was a nice little subversion of expectations. But the scene where so there's a few scenes where the main character, like, he's walking at night and he goes up to this shrine, and I guess there's like a kudo, I don't know what do you really call it, like an archery court or whatever. And there's this, the blue-haired guy, he's shooting his bow at night, as a manly man does. And one time he accidentally brings home this, I forget what they call it, some bamboo thing. He accidentally brings it home with him, right? And he goes to return it the next day, and like, there's a class in session, and one of the people is like, "Oh, you're looking for, like, so and so? He died a year ago."
Exactly.
And so he goes back the
Like, what
the
the
night
fuck's going on?
after, and the main character's like, "Don't disappear! I love what you do." And then the blue-haired guy's like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, exactly. I half hope that he would just like start like this, like fucking Thanos thing, like disappearing into powder or some shit. Like,
Yeah, I like when they were doing that, because they set that up like
yeah,
quite
exactly,
a bit.
exactly.
And like when I thought that was happening, I was like, "Is this show really gonna do that? Like in like the third episode?" But no, it completely like completely veers off of that, and it was really funny. I liked how this show did that. But yeah, this show's pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely, it's definitely much smoother. Again, I have a little bit more of, I would say, initial. I don't want to say backlash, but I came in with a slightly more negative perspective, even though it was KyoAni, just because of the recent stuff I watched. Like Nier hasn't watched. I mean, Nier watched free, but I don't think he watched stuff like Yuri on Ice and like some of the other more recent stuff. Just like I kind of.
Nier
I-
literally covered Yuri on Ice on this
Yeah,
show.
I watched.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I watched a decent amount of Yuri on Ice. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of Yuri on Ice just because, I'm pretty sure we talked about it on the podcast, but Yuri on Ice starts off as a sports series, and then it just
And then it turns into like a boy
it just
boy band show.
immediately
Yeah.
transitions into
Yeah.
this like BL series. I think this series has been a lot more consistent with like what it's trying to be, where it's focusing on the characters.
Yeah, I think it made
And
a
then-
better transition at least. And then
Yeah.
at the beginning, even it wasn't like, oh, it's all about archery, and then it didn't say that or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. I think overall, I would definitely recommend it just on the basis of it. It goes down as you just mentioned now, and obviously before, much more smoothly. I think that's sort of how I would describe it if it was a texture. It goes down much more smoothly than a lot of these other series have in the recent seasons and years. Yeah. I would definitely recommend it too.
Goes down smooth like hot boy sweat.
Yeah, Hot Boy Taiyaki. But yeah, it's definitely, I want to say, more consistent, more smooth. Obviously, you don't really have to worry about details as much. Like, and by not worrying about details, I mean like KyoAni definitely does their research for the most part. Like, so you don't have to really worry about like egregious things being wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely recommend it too. Any last words?
Yeah, I would say, if you like sports balls,
Sports balls, all the
it's
sports
it's
balls.
seems like a pretty good sports series. Again, I'm not the expert. I don't really watch sports series, but
Mhm.
it seems pretty good. The
Yeah.
show looks nice. I mean, it's KyoAni.
Right.
I feel like although I do feel like Kiwani has heard a little bit of the criticisms for the Instagram filters they've been using a lot lately,
Mhm.
and they've definitely toned back a lot on those. I don't know if you noticed, but like there's really not very many filters moments
Yeah.
at
It's
all.
not.
There's been a few moments where like they shoot the arrow, and then there's some lens flare, and the leaves will flow around and stuff. But for the most part, it's just like clean animation, which is really nice. But yeah, the show looks really good. Um, in my opinion, it doesn't look quite as good as Violet Evergarden, but that was
Yeah, I
kind of
mean, the thing is,
that was
like,
kind of
Violet.
Kiwani's magnum opus. So
Yeah, Kyoani literally was just like, yeah, here's some behind the scenes like sketches, like here's some behind the scenes like animation, like pre-rendered trailers, like just to show off. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
Violet Evergarden, we can't like that's apples and oranges.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Okay, so with that, we are done with all the series. Again, we're going to be officially covering for fall 2018. That we are going to move on to the news. Again, we're going to try a little bit new format. We're not going to do the people news. We're just going to do some regular news and move straight on to the calls and shoutouts. And this time around, we have some pretty interesting stuff. Or I mean, we have a lot of number stuff, so it'll be pretty nice. So, first piece of news. The Association of Japanese Animations, or AJA, will publish its Anime Industry Report 2018, which examines industry trends for 2017 next Tuesday. According to a preview of the report published on Wednesday, the anime market was valued at 2.1527 trillion yen, or about US $19 billion in 2017, an 8.1% increase from last year. As a chart, blah, 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 the industry has shown growth over the past 8 years and has reached a record high for the 5th consecutive year. So the overseas market in particular has seen a steady growth over the past few years, while the Japanese domestic market has seen a decline over the past like 4 or so years. So it's actually pretty strange because it's like the decline here, from what I'm seeing in the chart, right? The decline actually and around the year 2014 happened around at the same time as the overseas anime industry like started shooting super rapidly. You see that? So it's pretty interesting. So this year the overseas market grew 29.6% over last year, and the domestic market had a 5.5% decrease. So that's wonder what happened in 2014. I'm actually pretty curious. So
This podcast, dude.
this podcast, yeah. So last year's report also noted the growth of the overseas market, in particular in China, the country with the most contracts with the Japanese animation industry. After China, the countries with the most contracts were South Korea, Taiwan, and the United States. Again, we've talked about these contracts for a while, so you guys should be pretty familiar with this. Stuff like that, increase in live events, stuff like that. By contrast, the movie and home video fields were weak in 2017. So this is actually pretty big, I think, because it's like I think I think this might actually be a big thing, like why this sort of thing started happening. I don't know why it started happening in 2014, but the general trend of this decline and the increase is like a lot of the stuff being bought, right? Like it's like physical copies, and like in Japan at least, like the idea is that otakus buy these physical copies of manga or like these novels, or especially the BD DVD stuff, right? But that's obviously becoming more expensive or less popular. But since that's sort of like the major sort of thing in Japan, that's probably why this is decreasing. Whereas overseas, I mean, there were times. Yeah, exactly. A lot of it's streaming. A big part of it's like merchandise, the events, stuff like that, right? It's not like you don't like before there was like a BD DVD kind of thing, but like now you're not like, oh man, I'm definitely gonna buy this BD DVD dub of whatever, right? So I think that can partly explain why this happened. Although again, I'm very curious to see, think about what happened in 2014. We can probably be like 2014 was the peak of anime or something like that. People are just gonna be. I'm super curious. Like I'm actually really curious. So this will be pretty interesting. But if you do want to check it out, they're releasing it next week. Again, Anime Industry Report 2018, or this week, I guess, this upcoming week. So check that out. Next, more numbers, and these are pretty big ones. Again, forewarning, just in case you guys want to start this Crusader scheme back in 2014. So, just in case you guys are like, oh man, fucking the West has such shitty taste in anime. Don't worry, so does Japan. But anyways,
I'd say it's worse in some cases. To be honest.
yeah, for sure. It's just that they have more stuff, so sometimes more decent series can float up to the top. But in general, they have pretty shitty stuff taste too. But anyways, top selling light novels in Japan by series 2018. I know everybody likes numbers. This list covers sales survey from November 20th, 2017 to November 18th, 2018. So this is mainly like these numbers are mainly from Oricon, which is like the most famous like media sort of sales report place site. So you can probably check it out there. That's probably where it comes from. Yeah, it's from Oricon. So at number 1, at an estimated sales of around 800,000 copies of of novels across whatever volumes were released in 2017, Overlord. Number 2, sitting at 630,000, Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. Sitting just below that, The Irregular at Magic High School, or Maho Koko no Retese. Just below that, ReZero. After that, a significant jump, Slime Tenshi, or That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. After that, the Ryuo's Work Is Never Done. This one has been pretty stubborn. Like, this one's been pretty sticky on the top chart, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's a little bit creepy, but okay. After that, Sword Art Online, Progressive. Classroom of the Elite, Sword Art Online, and No Game, No Life. So, Overlord, I honestly didn't expect Overlord to explode this much, though. I'm gonna be real honest. But, pretty interesting.
People like skeletons, dude.
They like the whole like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking destroy everything as a skeleton, haha. Like I get to be
Not when it's the girls though. They don't. Those get destroyed.
So top selling manga in Japan by series 2018. This should be much less surprising. This is the 11th year in a row that One Piece has topped the annual comic ranking chart. Like the usual stuff, right? Number 1, One Piece, duh. But it's period of like 23 million like copies. Like there, we talked about this during like our slideshow, right? Like I made parts of it, and there was like a where it's like it had like 1 million plus copies, like that, right? Like some ridiculous ass. But now there's dense to it.
Dude, you are turning into quite the robot, right?
Can you hear me?
It's shaky. It's dodgy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So, you know how when we were talking about like the sideshow, right? We're like.
All right, maybe it wasn't so good. Maybe it wasn't so good, man. Oh, nope.
He's dying. He's not good. He's
It
sick.
ain't good, dude.
Want me to read them off? Rapid fire.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Wait,
Number 1 with
I'm not robot. Am I still?
8 gorillion
A little bit.
copies. One Piece. Number 2 with 6.7 gorillion copies. My Hero Academia. Number 3 with 5.2 gorillion copies. Attack on Titan. Number 4, also with 5.2 gorillion copies. Slam Dunk. What is this? I've never.
Slam. Yeah, it's. Wait, can you hear me now?
this
Am I
one.
fine?
Yeah.
Fine? Okay. So yeah, Slam Dunk. After that, it's Haikyuu, Kingdom, Seven Deadly Sins, The Promised Neverland. Very big, and I'm proud that I got this far. Number 9, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime manga adaptation. Jesus Christ. At number 10, with the Fujoshi's bringing up the rear, Tokyo Ghoul Re. But It's so One Piece is at 8 million is obviously like not a surprise, but it's like what's sort of surprising to me is like you know how when we were talking about when Naruto project ended, we were talking about comparing Naruto with stuff like Bleach and like One Piece and stuff like that, right? And we were like, and I had all those charts with like the numbers from like the past like years and stuff like that, right? Um, there was a time where One Piece had like some ridiculous numbers, it sold like 23 million or like 13 plus 20, like nearly I think it was 20 plus million copies in like 1 year or something or something.
Bleach?
No, not Bleach, One Piece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What
uh,
the fuck?
it like sold some stupid ass amount of copies, and then like the next year they got super dented because that year was when Attack on Titan came out and became viral, right?
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that it got dented this much nowadays, where it's like sitting at 8 million pretty. So that's
Well,
that's my initial surprise.
I don't know. I think some people might just be getting sick of it. The shows,
Yeah, for sure.
mangas,
But
been
I
going
mean, it's One Piece,
so
right?
long, right? And I hear from some people that are reading it right now that the current arc is kind of like they're saying it's good, but I think a lot of people are just drained on the series at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there can't be too much of a thing, even though it is legendary. But I'm very, very curious to see how the manga landscape will be because so many people will just have like so much. Well, I mean, that generation might pass, but it's like, is there some sort of new king that can be crowned, or will it just kind of splatter out into like 5,
Boruto,
6,
dude.
7 different series?
Mhm. Boruto.
Boruto.
He's here.
But yeah, that'll be pretty interesting. But anyways, those are the numbers. After that, this little piece of news about Nintendo. Nintendo posted its guidelines for use and sharing of videos and screenshots from its games on Thursday. Nintendo posted the guidelines in both English and Japanese. Blah, blah, blah. Among the rules include specifications for monetization methods and the requirement to post footage with creative additions or commentary with a specific usage of Nintendo features, such as the capture button on the Switch if a player posts out additions. Blah, blah. Specification on appropriate video and image sharing websites. Guidelines on the creation of fan art and uploading live streaming game tournaments based on Nintendo games. Jesus Christ.
Guidelines on the creation of fan art. Fuck off, Nintendo.
No, you may only make Bowser this cup size. But yeah, it's pretty silly.
I mean, do they expect anybody to actually follow these? Like, they're fucking ridiculous.
I don't
Again-
think they do. It's probably more of just them like covering tracks for when they start to pull shit down.
Yeah, pretty much. But they're trying to make it easier when they sue people because they could just point to XYZ. So
Yeah, they can be like, "Well, we put up the guideline."
yeah.
Fuck Nintendo, man.
Yeah.
No,
Next-
they're my friend.
They're my friend. They are the only cool people. But next piece of news. This is even sillier, by the way. So, the Tokyo District Court ruled as a temporary measure on Tuesday that YouTube must disclose their user information for an account on its website that allegedly violate copyright laws. The account reportedly posted just the dialogue text from the Ushijima the Loan Shark manga without permission. The court determined that it is illegal to share not only the manga itself, but also just the text from a manga without permission.
What? Fuck. That is interesting.
Shigakukan filed a case on October 4th on behalf of the manga's creator, Shohei Manabe. The claim asked that the account information of the YouTube user in question be disclosed on copyright grounds. The court then ruled that YouTube must disclose the user's information. The case is still ongoing.
I don't know about that.
People are just gonna be like, "Oh, is Classroom of Elite?" They're just reading it. And they're like, "Is this a script for the Classroom of Elite?"
Oh my god.
Anyways,
You need that. You need that fixed that fucking badly.
yeah, exactly. This is the next piece of news is probably the biggest news of the past week or so. United States Federal Trade Commission Chairman Joseph Simmons said on Tuesday that he will launch an investigation into video game loot boxes. New Hampshire Senator Maggie Hassan initially requested the investigation, quote, to ensure that children are being adequately protected and to educate parents about potential addiction or other negative impacts of these games. Hassan previously sent a letter to the ESRB asking the group to review the ratings process for games with loot boxes or gacha, a term derived from gachapon capsule toys. The organization added a label for in-game purchases, but not specifically for loot boxes, which offer random rewards, sometimes in exchange for real money. Several other countries have moved to regulate the gaming mechanism, blah, blah, blah. So...
I'd like to know which games they found that sometimes do it for real money.
Yeah, sometimes, because I want to play those games.
Yeah, sometimes.
I would
like,
play
what the
those
fuck?
games.
Like, yeah, can you give us a list for Christ's sake? Like,
I don't
Where
want to be
Where
playing
are the
these.
free loot boxes, man? Give me
yeah.
that.
Exactly. But the thing is, it's like the U.S. is a big market, obviously, and the biggest markets are going to be this a little bit, and then also China and South Korea, right? It's like those are the biggest things. So it's like the U.S. I think the impact of this is not so much necessarily the market in itself, but I mean it'll dampen localization effects, which will kind of suck. But I think the bigger impact of this is that this sends a specific like signal, right? Like, oh, like a lot of countries are kind of moving in on this and kind of gets the attention of public officials higher and up in places like China, in places like South Korea, where the markets are much bigger, and then they're going to act to do something, just to, whether it's, because they think this is a problem, because they kind of want to show off, public policy wise, stuff like that, I think, right? So I think this is an important step forward, and I'm pretty curious as to what will happen, just because, as we discussed even just like a week or so ago, right, in the news, where it's like a lot of the game stuff, like, what is it? It's like the like a lot of the Japanese game market is sort of like shrinking in a sense, right? But it's like a lot of the games that are surviving are very like heavily gacha, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, so if a lot of the gacha gets like slapped down on, then a lot of these markets, not just the Japanese games, but the Chinese games, the South Korean games that are also pretty dependent on gacha, will struggle. So I'm very curious to see how they will fight against that or develop against it or whatever. So that'll be pretty interesting to me. Like I'm not a fan of these gacha games at all. Like I play them because I want to collect some of the shit that's in them, but it's like I'm pretty interested to see how this all falls out, and I think it does have to fall out. It's like we can't, like we are adults, like we
It's
can
the most mobile game I've ever
like
heard. By the way.
we can earn money or spend money sensibly or whatever, but we can't guarantee that like there are like going to be definitely like a decent chunk of kids who are just making really stupid fucking decisions, right? And it's not like these games are like, no, don't do them. Like they are designed to encourage these kids to make stupid decisions to get 5 stars, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean the investigation is all about the kids, though, right? So
yeah,
I think honestly, just looking at this like at face value,
Mhm.
I think the most that's gonna come out of this is probably just
age restriction, age warnings.
restrictions on
Yeah.
the Play Store and like the Apple Store. I think
Well, hasn't
that's
that
probably all
actually
that's gonna happen.
shown to be like semi-effective though? Like not like super effective, but like isn't it
Yeah,
kind
so-
of a big problem for like companies if if all of a sudden they're rating for their game, say like this is supposed to be like a pretty family-friendly game. Now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, well, guess what? You're fucking rated M because you have to be pretty mature to understand how to buy a loot box, like, and be responsible
Yeah,
for
so
that.
so what I think
I
is,
feel like that's at least a decent
Well,
step.
a lot of games, I know Japan, a lot of the Japanese mobile games, when you go to buy in-game currency, they'll ask your age, and if you're 13 and under, they won't let you spend more than like what is it, like $30.
right, exactly. I think the biggest thing about this is that, or not biggest thing, excuse me. I think in the policy making sphere, there are going to be sort of two pathways that we can draw from precedents. One is sort of this light to moderate approach where it's like, as Stark said, change the ratings, have like these like slight like age restrictions, have like these like age warnings and stuff like that. That won't really deter a lot of like the the people that are quote unquote gamers or whatever. It's like people that are like know kind of the standard routes to kind of just bypass it or whatever, right? And these sorts of quote unquote hardcore gamers can still be younger than the restrictions, right? So it'll be that, or they'll take the other path, which is like they'll just be like, just flat ban this, just get rid of these loot boxes, and then it'll be a struggle between the companies that'll try to circumvent it or give up or do something else or whatever, versus government say none of this. So it'll be pretty interesting because I don't think there'll be a middle ground. I think it'll either be the light stuff or they'll just flat ban it.
I don't think they'll ban it. I think.
Some of the EU places have placed pretty severe restrictions on it, right? That are essentially like,
but that's in the EU. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
like if fucking Scandinavia bans loot boxes, EA is just gonna be like,
laugh,
okay, like
laugh at loot boxes, yeah.
Okay, later, like they don't really care. But like if the US goes to like. If the U.S.
the issue
even hints at like the idea of banning loot boxes, big companies like EA are gonna start lobbying to be like, no, we have money.
Yeah. So that's why I mentioned it earlier, where it's like there are like lobbying interests, but what I'm thinking is that because it's like, again, a lot of the representatives that are like gonna be watching over this or like doing investigations are the type of people that are like, how does Facebook make money, right? So what I'm guessing is that
How do loot box make?
how do loot boxes make money? But what I'm guessing is that what they'll do is they'll use this like gaming addiction is going to kill our fucking children, stuff like that, and use this as sort of trotting out their sort of public, quote unquote, public policy rigors, right? Like, we care for the children, so we're doing this, although it may not even mean anything like at the end, like what they're doing or whatever, right? So I think that'll be some temptation for some representatives, is what I'm thinking. Is why I think that the harsher punishment might be possible, even if the bigger companies pull out lobbying efforts.
I don't think so. I think most representatives these days, like, they're out of touch, but they're not like 80 fucking years old. Like, they have no idea what a computer is anymore.
Yeah.
Like they know what a video game is.
Yeah.
Like the I don't know. The
Well, what I'm saying is, like,
the gambling aspect is like the most that they can do, right? They'll probably, the way I see it, the best odds of success to passing anything would be to put it under children's gambling laws as opposed to
exactly.
video game addiction.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that they'll probably try to push for that aspect in order to get political points, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, of
So
course.
they'll try to use it like that.
But like using it as, video game addiction, that's just shooting yourself in the foot, honestly, for any sort of like, if you're trying to pass anything, and you like chalk it up to like video game addiction or video games like tainting the youth,
you're gonna be sent back to the 90s, essentially.
Yeah, you're just gonna get fucking laughed at.
Yeah, get sent back to the 90s. Yeah.
Like, even politicians these days, they know what a video game is. So.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, hopefully this turns out okay. I am interested. I hope this shakes up the industry. This has to shake up the industry. Like, this can't be this sort of like loot boxes, like this is not sustainable, I think. So hopefully this shakes things up a little bit, but we'll see. But yeah, so that's it for news this week. And we are on to shoutouts and callouts, and everybody gets one shoutout, one callout. And a shoutout is one thing that you want to praise to the heavens, give 10 out of 10, and it can be any one person, place, or thing. And a callout is the exact opposite, something you want to insult, something that you want to rant about, something that you want to flame. 0 out of 10, -1 out of 10, and it can be any person, place, or a thing. and I guess I'll start. So my shout out goes to. So I've been like, I don't know. It's very weird how I should describe it, but it's like I haven't been like debated necessarily, but so like while I like listen to like YouTube videos of like random like streamer highlights and stuff like that, right? I've encountered like two people that were like trying to bait other guys using like like girlish voices like nakama kind of stuff like that, right? And they were like okay, like but it's like how it's like guys usually have to like if they're trying to pretend like this they're doing this, they have to like talk a little bit quiet because it's like if they don't like their like comes out right, and then like that makes you totally sound like a guy trying to do a falsetto, right? And so but that notwithstanding, it's kind of weird how it's like I don't know, like they like watching like these streamers do this and like trying to fuck with guys because it's like initially I thought like it's like especially in like these anime like nakama like I'll have these like terrible rap and like rightly so because it's like they're guys trying to like get like free shit and like RPGs and stuff like that, right? And so I was just like, why
I would never do that. Let me tell you.
never do. And I was like, why would people? I mean, like other than like the free stuff, but it's like, if you weren't getting the free stuff, or like if you weren't, why would you even like bother trying to do this? This just seems like a stupid idea. But it's like apparently it works if you do it right, and it was real. And I watched the videos that were pretty fucking funny. So shout outs to those guys.
Dude, I would fucking do that shit in Guild Wars 1.
Oh
like,
my God.
all the fucking time. Like, easy platinum, dude. Easy fucking platinum.
But these guys were actually doing it in like voice chats and stuff like that. So it's like that's the
Now, that's different.
yeah.
Though, at the same time, when Guild Wars 1 came out, my voice might have been pretty good on its own.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's like it's pretty interesting how some of these people do it, but it's like you can still hear it like if you have like the record if you turn on the volume a little bit up, but it's like it's pretty funny how people are like, oh shit, what? But yeah, that's my shout out and my call out, and I don't want to. Well, I don't think I'm going to offend Nier necessarily in saying this, but it's like, after this like news of like the Netflix Evangelion thing, like with every passing day, I just hate the Evangelion fan base more
It's
and
the
more.
ultimate Jungian anime, man. Have you heard of Carl Jung?
Oh my god, just kill! It's like Ava. There's actually another thing. Like I was actually talking about this with another guy, and he was like, "By the way, there's a reason why the Ava OP has been banned at Anime Expo for like years on end." It's like,
Yeah, it's because they just don't get it.
yeah, they just don't get it, dude. Like, even presupposing that Evangelion is a good series. Like, I don't think anybody has heard me.
I don't
like,
think anyone's ever said that before.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's heard me like necessarily like, criticize like Eva on this show like throughout all these years. But what I've always said and I've always maintained is that like, in a sense, like Eva fans like represent the worst of like the anime community because the anime community keeps trying to do this shit where it's like almost no other media does, where it's like
Talia fans would like to have a word with you.
yeah. But,
excuse me, Oron School Host Club fan.
yeah.
I'd like to have a word with both of you. Well,
it's like
have you seen that, by the way?
Or
You want to like
or,
watch that right now?
or on hosts?
Yeah, you want to do like a marathon right now?
Fuck no.
Marathon, no thanks.
We could do one tomorrow too.
But so it's like what like anime fans all like have tend to have this boner of like trying to declare the best anime, and like unironically trying to determine the best anime, and you will never see this in like any other media. And it's like the most like you'll never be like unironically be like, all right, what's the best book? You know what I mean? Like, or like, what's the best movie? Like, and you would have somebody like running around town being like, Jurassic Park is the best movie, better than fucking like anything, like better than like all of your historical dramas, better
mean,
than like all of your.
It is.
It is.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Toast, how do you feel about 1990 Romeo and Juliet? Like, just had this conversation in this podcast.
Toast is dead.
What?
think.
I like.
Toast is dead.
Wherefore art thou, Mercutio? I like that scene where.
Yeah, that's how it went.
I like that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio pointed his gun at Mercutio, and then Mercutio's like, "I am for you."
These blood diamonds are mine.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like in no other medium will you see people being like, trying to so like unironically, so seriously being like, this is the best anime, or this is the best book, or this is the blah blah blah. Like except for anime people will be like, this is the best anime, and that is so accentuated in the Ava like community, where it's like people are just like, oh, this is the best anime. You know what I mean? In a sense, or it's like they're trying to elevate it to such a standard that they're so obviously implying that this is obviously better than like all these other crap series you've been watching, right? It's like, and that like it's so counterproductive to any sort of discussion. It runs so
Yeah.
counter to like just like anything that you want to talk about anime. Like, what's even the point when somebody in the background is just gonna be like, "Yeah, but have you watched Evangelion?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's always the problem I've had.
Well, I mean, of course, that's no fault of the series, of course. But
Yeah.
you know, that's the problem you run into when. I mean, it's hard to talk about Evangelion, right? Because
Yeah, and again,
It's
I'm
just
not
so
saying this
darn
problem is
good.
unique to Evangelion, but it's like, or Evangelion fan base. I'm just saying the Evangelion fan base represents like the problem that is central, one of the problems that is central to the anime community times 100.
well, in a way, it is kind of unique to Evangelion because Evangelion, you know, for better or for worse, it's a special series, right? It's a series that's
It
you know,
represents something
almost-
like whether you
it-
respect
almost-
it or not, it does something, or whether you like it or not, you have to respect it for what.
yeah,
it is.
it's almost inarguably the most influential anime that's come out in the past 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And, you know-
Maybe if you were born in the tsunami era.
Yeah,
or
which
if you were born
which
on
era is
planet
that?
Earth,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
keep going. Yeah.
But you know, just by nature of being that, you attract a certain kind of person,
Yeah.
and it's obviously important to make the distinction between the kind of people that say Evangelion is the best anime and the kind of person that says Evangelion is like on the top of my list.
Yeah, and it does all XYZ, things right. And like I'm all about that life. It's like, but it's like this recent Netflix thing really just let the floodgates out.
So
Like,
it's
Well,
li-
I mean,
is
it's
it live
also
action?
like one of those things where you get the people who ask you like, I mean, I don't fault people for asking this, but I always hate answering is when someone goes, "Oh yeah, what's your favorite series?"
yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, I gotta like crack my knuckles and be like, "All right, well, hold on, because I gotta like fucking run a battle royale in my head right now
You
and see who the fuck wins."
Oh,
then.
wait, so you guys don't have an
That's
instant
why-
answer?
That's why
No.
I made my
Why
top
not?
5 like years ago. So that way anytime somebody asks me that, I can just snap my finger.
I mean, my top one is you know what my top one is, right?
No, because yours changes every other week.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side Dimension.
No, that's the best movie of 2018 because there was no Heaven's Feel this year. That means Heaven's Feel's 2019.
Someday there's gonna be like Toast ASMR where he just whispers to you. It's like, I really like this series. Like, but anyways,
Don't
yeah, that was my-
don't worry, Spire. Don't worry, Spire. 2019 is the year of the resurgence of isekai.
God damn it! All right.
it,
The past 4 years.
it has never left.
Anyways, that's my cause. Shout out cause. Sorry for dragging it on a little bit too long.
That was like
Dark.
20 minutes of shout outs and call outs, man.
Yeah, sorry. Dark.
The heck?
Shout out to cause.
Shout out to call outs. Okay, so fuck, you're putting me on the side here because I had a call out. No, you know what? I'll do this for my call out. I'll save that for second though. So my shout out for now is gonna be a two-parter because I don't remember if I shouted out the first thing or. But if I haven't shouted out the first thing, I'm gonna shout out the Kamen Rider O's CSM belt. That thing is real cool. It's real good. It was like $450, and I don't regret the purchase at all.
How cool is it, Dark?
Dude, it's so fucking cool.
How-
It came
how
with all
cool?
the medals. It makes all the noises.
What?
If you're trying to like set this up for me to pull it out and do it, I already put it all back in its packaging. It's gonna take
I got
too
ti-
long. I'll
I-
do it after the podcast.
I got time.
I'll do it for a bonus when we're done. But that thing is awesome. And if I did call that out, shout outs to PSO2 reviews. The episode 6 seems to be getting kind of and they're finally adding in an invisible weapon cam. So your weapon is invisible, which means that you can finally look like one of the characters that uses arm blades. There's no arm blades in the game. And all her fighting style has been since the game came out was the dagger style. But guess what? Her weapons were invisible. So they're finally doing that, and that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
What else? Call out? Yeah,
Yeah,
call out. My call out, I think in general, it's going to be a more in general call out, I think. But primarily my call out is going to be to, I guess, I don't want to say people who don't take games seriously, but people who just like do the worst shit and you ask them to stop doing these awful fucking things that are ruining your time and everyone else's time. And then they just say, it's just a video game. And it's like,
Just
well,
quick play, dude.
yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Like in Overwatch, me and Nier are playing some matches. I'm getting fucking full tilted because our tank decides to not run any sort of barrier composite. And I'm like, okay, but we have to go through like 4 choke points. So if you don't have a barrier, you're just going to keep getting shot and you're just going to let them build ult and we're going to die. And so halfway through, I asked him to switch. Wouldn't switch. And then I just became a prick about it. And he put in chat, what was it? Imagine being this mad at quick play. To which I thought about it for like a solid 5 seconds. And I was like, I never thought about it like this. But those sorts of comments essentially boil down to someone saying, imagine you being mad for me being a fucking idiot. Like how are you going to say to someone like, I can't believe you're upset that I'm doing something very stupid and it's causing you to have a bad time and lose it. So that's my.
Yeah, it's like again, it's like in these competitive things. No, I completely agree. Like I share a very similar viewpoint to you, but it's like if you're playing like on a team and it's like competitive stuff like that, it's like again. I mean, it's competitive. It's a competitive game, so you have to respect the fact that other people are competing. They are trying to win, and they don't want stuff to be retarded. Obviously, there's a range of there's a there's a wide middle ground where you can sit in without having to be like, if Dark was like, oh, you didn't get like all these headshots like correctly, blah, 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 like you suck.
Yeah, I'll be like, if
you
someone's playing Widowmaker and if someone's playing Widowmaker and they're doing bad, I'll be like, give me Widowmaker right now.
Yeah.
But if someone is also like playing Widowmaker horribly, but that's the thing too, is that Overwatch is tricky Because if I see someone playing Widowmaker and they're just losing every Widowmaker battle and they're not doing anything, I'll just be like, switch heroes.
Yeah.
Like, you're not making any progress on this person as your Widowmaker, so there's no point in you playing it.
But yeah, it's very like I don't know.
And
very
yeah,
fun.
well, and the other thing is too is that people like to say, it's only quick play, but it's like quick play is supposed to be the place where you try shit out to like get better for ranked, if any. Like that's supposed to be the real matches you play before you play ranked, whether it be to learn heroes in a team environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's supposed to be, like let's say I want to play Widowmaker. I don't want to play Widowmaker on a team that's all attackers because I'll never be in that situation in an actual match. Like that's just a fucking me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to play it on a team with all supports and one Widowmaker.
Right. Okay, people have to be reasonable about respecting people that want to try and compete in a competitive game. So, but
it's also people should just fucking stop playing games if they're not gonna like actually play. It almost connects with me the same feelings I have with people saying shit like, I want something to watch where I have to think about it. Or I can just turn my brain off. It's like, why are you doing it?
Or don't play a competitive, don't play a competitive game if you're not gonna compete at all, or like at least
go look at fucking Clouds if that's not what you want to do.
Or have like a full stack of people that also don't want to compete, essentially.
Yeah, find 5 other people who just want to fuck around.
Yeah.
And it's not even like about being serious to me. It's more about like, don't be so like just up your own ass. Because I don't care if you're like joking around. Like, there have been plenty of games where we have like even a 4 or 5 stack and we're just memeing, but we're still trying to get kills and we're trying to win. And if it's going really horrible, then we change shit up and try and win. But there are a lot of people who block in like one hero or do one thing, just throw themselves at a wall for like 15 minutes when they don't have to. And then they don't think, I guess, people should... I don't want to say entitled to be mad, but it's like they find it unreasonable that people would be upset with them.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying... They're having fun. I guess. So...
Anyways,
basically, Overwatch, bad.
Yeah, Overwatch, lol. But yeah, anyways, very unfortunate. Thank you, Dark, for your shoutouts, callouts, and Nier, shout out and call out, please.
My shoutout's gonna be kind of related to Spire's. Spire's call out, I guess.
Yeah.
Shout out to Netflix picking up Evangelion because I don't know how many people really are aware just kind of how like big of an event that is, that like any platform has gotten streaming rights for Evangelion.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rights for Evangelion alone are very expensive.
Oh yeah, licensing
Gainax,
anything Evangelion is like super expensive.
Gainax holds on to the rights to Evangelion like a scared Christian holding the fucking Bible.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like they will not let that shit go unless there is a hefty price attached to it.
Yeah, for good reason.
Gainax, as great as Gainax was, they're not even a company anymore. Like they're
I say this every time they have tomatoes.
They have the tomatoes. Yeah,
they got the tomatoes.
Who are you gonna go to when all the other tomatoes are gone?
Aren't they selling it in like a duty free area too, like or something like that? Like there's duty free tomatoes.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if their fucking tomato branch has already collapsed in on itself. But
it's over, yeah.
I gotta move on, dude. Carrots. That's
Gainax
big
is like
shit.
a shell company. Like the only IP they really have anymore that's even making money is Evangelion.
Mhm.
And they know that, so they don't just hand out the rights willy-nilly. So the fact that Netflix was willing to like pay that price, it's a big deal.
Mhm.
And it's nice to see Evangelion, finally like exposed to the world in HD, right? That's
Mhm.
something that's getting Evangelion in HD is not easy.
Right, right.
Especially after the remember the initial collapse of Nya, and
Yep. Yep.
like pretty much all the torrents with like HD files of Evangelion, like they went down.
Mhm.
And now they don't really have very many seeders, if I remember right. Pretty sure
Yeah.
Blanca BT. Uh,
Agabiti collapsed a while ago. I mean, they still have their old stuff, but it's like they're not updating shit. Yeah.
yeah. Blanca BT, I think won't even like host Evangelion the series because I think they'll get in trouble or something.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
get stopped down.
It's probably one of those ones where
yeah,
second
it's just one
it's
of
up
those.
just gets hit.
Yeah, it's just one of
Yeah.
those series that Blanca
Especially
BT
since
doesn't
this is
want
one
to
of the bigger
touch.
names out there, so it's like yeah.
So yeah, getting torrents of Evangelion very hard. The BDs that released in 2015 for Evangelion's 20th anniversary, I think.
Mhm.
They're about $500, so it's not easy, right? So it's a big deal, and it's nice to see. Call outs to look, I don't know. I guess I guess my call out's gonna be related to Spires too. Call outs to the people that try to attach fucking philosophy that has nothing to do with the original vision of a piece of media onto a piece of media.
It's the most effective piece of analytic psychology I've seen in anime since
Yeah,
the
I
beginning of
don't
history.
know. I don't know, man. Do you know? Do you know about Carl Jung? Have you read Nietzsche? You know, that's literally Evangelion. That's like, nah, dude.
Nah, that's
All
not
right,
how
hear me
this.
out. Evangelion OVA, as imagined by Jordan Peterson.
When's the Jordan Peterson Evangelion review?
When are we gonna get a Netflix adaptation of Ben Shapiro just yelling at Shinji? Just like at the end. It's like that's just what I
Where's
wanted to believe all along.
Where's Ben Shapiro's Angel's Egg review?
Oh my god. But yeah, that's
But yeah, just the I don't know. I see people do this all the time. Like they'll attach shit to like anime especially. Um, like whenever any sort of philosophy is involved in any like uh media in general, they dig a little too deep, and they pull out names. They pull names out their ass like Young in Nature, the most common ones, obviously.
yeah.
But it's just like, do you know what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they try to attribute a lot more than what seems. They try to attribute so much to like stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just dumb. But yeah,
Very
that's
much.
it for me.
But, yeah. Um. So, yeah, it's
Whoa, you're not over.
Huh?
Toast.
yeah, Toast. Sorry,
Shout out and call out.
shout out to Collins.
My-
Toast was dead, so I forgot for a
My
second. Sorry.
my call out is to KFC's The Bowl. What's it called? Famous Bowl.
The famous bowl.
The famous bowl.
Why is it not a very good bowl?
Everything was good except the corn. It was weird. Get that corn out of here.
Is this? Is
Right.
this is this just like a mashed potato bowl, but with like chicken like nuggets stuck in through it? What's happening with this bowl?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like chicken on top of potatoes, I think.
Famous Paul?
It seems pretty gross, to be honest.
I mean,
But I guess like it's probably not
just
bad.
pretty
It's
generous. I mean,
fine.
It
but
just looks gross, but
it just looks.
Yeah,
it
this
tastes
looks
pretty good.
rancid, honestly.
It looks degenerate. Is the biggest thing. Yeah.
the corn's the worst part. Everything else is pretty good.
Oh, there's also corn stuck on it. What the fuck? Okay, that's weird. But and your call out. Excuse me.
No, that was my call.
Oh, your shout out then.
My shout out is to Dark. What was the name of that show?
What show?
The show.
Alicization?
Yeah, that one. My shout
Yeah,
out.
there you go.
My shout out is to Alicization and its quantum brain. Near what's the word?
I don't want anything to do with this.
Mnemo sign? Mima sign?
Wait, what?
Mnemosynes?
Mnemosynes.
Wasn't it Mnemosynes?
Mnemosyne.
Yeah, that word. And its theories on quantum brain mechanics and the essence of the soul.
Yeah.
It's Alicization's pretty good.
I'm already shaking my head.
It's the reason why I skimmed through GGO because I consider that the filler season. And where Alicization's where we get
No,
to
there
the
are
real
multiple filler seasons.
the real meat and taters, the famous bowl of the Sao series.
Yes, Paul.
If I don't like it, it's filler.
The Alicization is the KFC famous boss for online dubs.
Yeah, sure.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
That works.
Mother's Rosario was all right, but
Oh my
okay.
god.
Okay.
Okay.
Like if
So
you,
that
if,
was-
if you want me to sum up Alicization, I consider it the hard reboot of the Sao franchise, where Death Bull.
I would highly recommend that anyone go watch the fucking scene of Kirito getting stabbed with the syringe venom.
That's why I said
Good.
it's the hard reboot, because spoiler. In the very first episode, Kirito gets stabbed by a syringe and goes into a coma, and he's got brain damage. So they gotta hard reboot his brain. That's why he's into the Alicization.
Can we stop talking about Alicization? I hate this fucking series so much. I hate this fucking arc so much. I hate everything about it. The thing you're talking about.
Is
So
that
much.
is that because you like part 2 of season 1 of Sao more than part 1 of season Sao?
But so thank you for telling me about your shout out to Colin's Toast.
Alice in Wonderland syndrome.
Oh, shut the fuck
Alicization is the original isekai.
Shut the
Fuck up.
Anyways, thank you, Toast, for your shout out to Colin. And with that, we are going to wrap up this episode. Again, episode 107 of 4Player Animecast. Thank you for joining us, the listeners here, or the viewers here, and the listeners out there. And that was the last, again, show about the fall 2018 season. Again, next episode will be the winter 2018 preview show, so watch out for that. That'll be, again, one of our more exciting shows. And then after that, we're going to try to time it so that it doesn't conflict with all of our usual, like, Christmas and New Year holidays and stuff like that. And hopefully it'll work out pretty decently. But we will do a special award show podcast that we do, every year. So watch out for that. And if you do like what we do, please check us out on twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast, where we live stream our podcast recording every other Saturday starting 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So follow us here, follow us on our social media, Facebook, on Twitter @4PPAnimecast, as well as on our YouTube. We'll upload it there. And yeah, so just check us out there for updates where we talk about the latest and greatest and all sorts of Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, visual novels, web novels, so on and so forth. And with that, we'll see you next time.